need to be on radio.
Wow.
You want to hear my story?
Yes. Hear your story.
It's story time. Look at Corey. He's like, what time is it?
Once upon a time.
Okay. I tell this story. This is one of the first stories I wrote. These stories are part of my teaching technique. I do instructional design. If you know anything about education, it's an education thing. And my instructional design involves stories. This is one of the first stories I wrote. It's called The Magic Cat. Once upon a time, there was a magic cat. Now, this cat's particular form of magic was such that he could not be seen straight on. So if you looked directly at him, he became something else. Sometimes a couch pillow, sometimes an old shoe, maybe a pile of laundry, or even a telephone. A telephone, not like a cell phone, but an old telephone. Now it came time, as it often does, for this cat to visit the veterinarian. His owner had no trouble catching him because he just looked right at him and he turned into a couch pillow, which he scooped up and locked into the cat carrier. The other patients did give him a look or two for caging a couch pillow and waiting for the vet to examine it. But he was accustomed to these looks. The vet had dealt with his share of magic cats and knew not to look at his patient. All magic cat's vitals checked out, and he was laid back in his carrier. The vet, feeling proud, neglected to lock the little wire door. Once his owner got outdoors, Magic Cat escaped.
Oh, no.
I know. His owner hollered and chased him, but Magic Cat just changed into a big bouncing ball and bounced across the road. And then into an empty can and rolled away into the gutter. And then into an old newspaper and down the storm drain. All the while his owner was calling and chasing, but his owner could not follow down the long, dark drain. So it was that Magic Cat was out in the world on his own. It was very dark down in the city's drainage pipes, and as soon as he was out of sight of anyone, Magic Cat again became a cat. A wet, swimming cat that was not pleased to be either wet or swimming. He made it over to a ledge in the drain and shook all the water he could out of his fur, and he began to get himself in order. I'm a free cat, he thought to himself, and the whole world is out there for me to see. He imagined what the countryside would look like and how many strange and exotic mice he would catch and eat, and all the new cats and animals he would meet. After finding his way out of the drains of the city, Magic Cat wandered the countryside. The first thing he met was a scary, big, hungry, wild dog. Luckily, the dog looked right at him, and he turned into an old tire. And the dog sniffed him a bit and then ran on his way. The next thing he met was a little girl who squealed and ran toward him with arms open to gather him up in an eager little girl embrace. But right before her eyes, he turned into a prickly bush, and she dropped her arms and ran back to her mama. The third thing he met on the road was another cat. He waited expectantly to turn into something or another, but he didn't change. Are you looking at me? He asked the other cat. Not so much, replied the old cat. And why not? Asked Magic Cat. Well, I'm pretty much blind, answered the old cat. Now, Magic Cat didn't know what to do. He had never just been himself before, right in front of any other creature, so he just kind of sat there, thinking about it. My name's Old Tom. How do you do? Politely responded Old Tom. Nice to meet you, started Magic Cat, feeling bashful. My name's Magic Cat, he replied. Well, it's very nice to meet you, too, Old Tom continued. Seems from the smell of you, you're a fine young cat, and my whiskers tell me you have a big tail and sharp ears. I do, said Magic Cat. Wow, nobody's ever really noticed before. And why is that? Asked Old Tom in a friendly way. Well, I turn into other things when they look my way, answered Magic Cat. Oh, I see, ironically said blind Old Tom. Well, can't you control it? He asked. I've never tried, said Magic Cat. Well, how do you expect anybody to notice what a nice long tail you have and those sharp feline ears if you don't let them see you? Old Tom replied. And Magic Cat thought about it and wondered if he could actually stop himself from changing into some other thing whenever he was looked at. It would be hard, he reasoned, but it would be worth it too, to actually be seen now and again. And then he thought of his owner, who was surely missing him, and of his food bowl, and of his round little bed. I better get home, he said to Old Tom. That you better if you're lucky enough to have a home to get to, Old Tom responded. And with a leap and a whirl, Magic Cat fast-footed it back the way he had come, back past the little girl who chased him a good way, but he stayed a cat and just outran her. Back past the big, hungry, wild dog who chased him a good long way, into the city's drains, but the big, hungry, wild dog could not follow him down in there. Finally, Magic Cat reached the place he had entered, and he heard his owner still sadly calling, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty." With a fabulous leap, he exited the storm drain and then curled up in his astounded owner's arms. His owner tried not to look directly at him for fear of him changing into something or another. But Magic Cat nuzzled him right on the chin, and he couldn't help but look at him. And he saw a very beautiful cat indeed, with a fine long tail and a shiny coat and the sharpest pointed ears. The end. That was really good today. I'm very impressed with all of you. Y'all have a good Thanksgiving, okay?
You too.